It is getting much colder out as we creep closer to December, and I have a story to read to you today about hibernation. And this story is called Winter Sleep. Winter Sleep, a hibernation story by Sean Taylor and Alex Morse, and illustrated by Cindy Chu. When it was summer, I stayed at Granny Sylvie's house. She knows lots of things, like the names of flowers and how to spot a deer's hoofprint. And she knows where to splash around the pond, climb a slope of green ferns, pass through oak trees with moss on one side, and find the secret glade. Butterflies fluttered even though it was late. Granny Sylvie helped me listen for songs of different birds. It was still warm. We stayed right into the summer magic of the night. We kept so still that we saw the dormouse who lives there run right up the hazel tree. Granny Sylvie's house is full of forest magic. There are birds and little bunnies and animals and insects all around, and it seems like she knows the names of every one. It looks like an amazing place to spend summertime. When I went back to stay with Granny, it was winter. I asked her, "Can we go to the secret glade?" She said, "Yes, if you can find it." Everything was different. The pond was frozen hard, the ferns on the slope looked dead, and the oak trees with moss on one side were all bony. And the glade was quite bare. It wasn't anything the same. No butterflies, flowers, or birds. I wanted to see the dormouse, but Granny said that dormouse was having a winter sleep. It was too cold to stay. And I said, "Nothing is alive in winter." Granny Sylvie told me, "Oh yes, it is." We can't see the dormouse, but she's hiding here. She'll be safely, deeply sleeping all winter long. This is her hibernation time. In autumn, she feasted on forest nuts, fruits, and insects, and then the long nights came. She felt cold, heavy, and sleepy. There was nothing more to eat, so she made a nest ball, and she's inside, secretly snoring until the spring sun warms her body again. On the way back, I asked, "Are there other animals hiding in the trees?" Look at that tiny, sleeping dormouse. That little mouse ate and ate and ate, and then built a little nest in the ground and will just sleep all the way until spring. Granny said yes! Lots of bats hibernate in trees. On warm nights, they fly across the forest chasing insects and pulling spiders from webs. But even their food rests in the winter, so bats snuggle up in a hollow trunk or cave and snooze through the frosty weather. I said, "Where do all the insects go?" Granny told me, "Some are sleeping right underneath your feet. The ground is frozen hard, but below there are stag beetles waiting to come out. The queen bumblebee sleeps in a tiny tunnel. Some moths and butterflies hide underground, often wrapped up waiting for spring. Mother earwigs look after their eggs until they hatch when spring comes." We were coming to the pond, so I asked, "What about what's in the water?" Did you know that insects hibernate under the ground in the winter? Some insects even hide in all of the leaves that fall out of the trees, and they sleep there until springtime. It's amazing how many things hibernate. Granny said, "There's ice on top of the pond, but life waits below." Before it froze, the frogs dived down deep into slimy mud, and now they're still and breathing so slowly they seem like they're dead. But when the water warms up in the spring, we'll hear them croaking again. I said, "So all sorts of animals are having a winter sleep." "That's right," Granny Sylvie told me. "Some even make a special home for winter. A bear builds a den deep in the woods, perhaps in a cave, an old tree trunk, or maybe a hidden hollow. Mommy Bear slows right down and rests there with her cubs, curled up tight on a bed she made from soft moss, twigs, and leaves. How cozy does Mama and baby bears look? That would be a comfy place to sleep for the winter. Granny Sylvie was still telling me about the animals in the winter when I was in my bed. You see, she told me, there's plenty of life tucked up, hiding in the cold. I nodded. I could feel the cozy magic of the dark night outside. And even though it wasn't very late, I closed my eyes for a nice winter sleep. The end. And in this wonderful book, you can learn all about hibernation in the back, and it also tells you a little more about some animals that hibernate. It's very cool. This month, if you walked in our forests, you would see a lot of mushrooms growing. So today, our craft is inspired by some fall mushrooms. Let's get started on our week 3 storytime bundle. You'll need your red paint and your glue and the package of materials that says week 3. Inside this package, you'll see you have a bunch of tiny white hearts. They're so little. You also have a brown rectangle and half of a paper plate. And then you have a couple of coloring sheets. Here is Pooh and Piglet sweeping up the leaves, and this one says, "Hello, Fall." Our first step for this craft is we are going to paint our plate all the way red. We are going to cover the whole thing with red paint, even the edges. Did I tell you that we are making a mushroom? Well, we are, and this is going to be the top of our mushroom. Now, when your mushroom is all dry, you're going to put some glue on it and stick on those little white hearts. We are doing this because we are copying the design of a real mushroom. There is an actual mushroom in the wild that has a red top and white spots, and it looks just like this. Cool, right? So cover the top of your mushrooms with those little white hearts, and then we will work on gluing the bottom of our mushroom. Now we are going to turn our mushroom into a little house. So let's leave the top to dry for a little bit, and we will start decorating our house's doorway. I added a nice round door to my mushroom bottom, and then I even decorated it with some plants. But you can decorate it however you would like. Now that our door is ready, it's time to glue it to the top of our mushroom. We're going to flip the top upside down and add some glue right to the top of our mushroom stem. And then we will glue that to the back of our mushroom. Look how cute this turned out, and I believe that this is the perfect home for our little leaf friend that we made last week. I hope you had so much fun listening to our story and doing crafts today. Thank you so much for listening every week and for working so hard and sending me these beautiful pictures. Have a great rest of your week, friends. I'll see you next time. Bye!